Hello sailors, welcome to the new season of Sail Ho Croatia. I'm Marta and I will be your host on this journey through some of the most beautiful places on Croatian coast. Hope you enjoy all the sights as much as we're enjoying the ride. Smooth sailing all the way. We're starting this season from the southernmost part of Croatian coast, and the city which is sure to take your breath away. To see it is to love it. Dubrovnik. In this episode, we're exploring interesting places in search of the legacy left by the old captains of the Dubrovnik Republic. Our first destination, the island Lokrum, is just a few hundred meters across from the old town. This green oasis of tranquility and lush beauty attracts a large number of visitors who want to enjoy crystal clear sea, beautiful gardens and parks, and interesting historical buildings.
So the island of Lokrum is a special reserve of forest vegetation, not far away from Dubrovnik Old Harbor, just 10 to 15 minutes away by our boats. It is recognized among many visitors, almost 300,000 year after year, as a place of relaxing and some other activities on an island like this. Besides natural characteristics of this island, there is also a lot of history here.
Right.
And I believe that our visitors will be able to see that.
The main man credited for these beautiful gardens is Maximilian Ferdinand von Habsburg, the only monarch of the Second Mexican Empire and a younger brother of the Austrian Emperor Francis Joseph I. After a distinguished career in modernizing the Austrian Navy as its commander and accepting an offer to rule Mexico, this military man displayed considerable taste for the arts and demonstrated an interest in science, especially botany. The Benedictine monastery has been around since the 11th century and is currently being reconstructed. Star-shaped Fort Royal, built in 1806 by French soldiers following Napoleon's order, is the highest peak of Lokrum. Dubrovnik and island of Lokrum are an ever more popular destination for various events and weddings, with guests coming in from all over the world. This small piece of paradise is probably one of the most beautiful places, not only in Dubrovnik area, but across country. For a pleasant and thoroughly enjoyable day well spent, there's a restaurant with a beautiful garden terrace where guests can indulge in refreshments during a break from exploring the island, swimming and some sports action. And be sure there's no lack of action at Lokrum. There's so much amazing beauty on this island. Can you tell us more about the fun activities people can enjoy?
Of course. So Lokrum is trying to keep all these activities eco-friendly. So
Sure.
one of these activities is kayaking. So we have departures from the island of Lokrum and from the old town.
Okay.
And I believe that you didn't have a full experience of Dubrovnik if you didn't go out on the sea. So among all the other hidden beaches and caves that you can find, hidden bays, Blue Cave is one of them. And Blue Cave is something that I think you should definitely see.
Okay.
Hop in a kayak and let's go.
I'm going in?
Yeah.
Okay.
By yourself.
I'm by myself?
Yeah.
I'll try.
Let's do that.
Okay, let's do it. Lokrum Island is a favorite beach resort of Dubrovnik residents as well as tourists. Crystal clear sea and beautiful rocky beaches provide a special atmosphere of tranquility and delight. After a fun and somewhat exerting rowing session, a dip in the sea or in the small lake can help refresh strained muscles. We're traveling a little bit to the north from Dubrovnik to Trsteno, which has one of the oldest and most beautiful arboretums in the world. In an area of 280,000 square meters, there's a park with more than 300 species of exotic and ornamental plants.
Arboretum Trsteno is a unit of Croatian Academy of Sciences and Arts. It is founded at the former land estate of noble patrician family Gučetić-Goce. The first year that we know about Arboretum is 1494.
1494,
yes,
right.
End of 15th century. And it integrates several different units. We have, right now we are in Renaissance Garden with Summer Villa. Then we have neo-romantic garden at the turn of 19th to 20th century. Also we have a historic olive grove, natural vegetation of cypress trees, Aleppo pines and downy oak woods, macchia and coastal vegetation.
On the terraced part of the estate, covering 18,000 square meters, there's a number of park terraces with numerous species of palm trees, eucalyptus trees, laurels, camphor, cacti and various exotic trees and shrubs, whose seedlings were brought by seafarers from their distant journeys. Our eyes were quickly drawn to the magnificent fountain in the central part of the Arboretum. The aqueduct used to bring water for the irrigation of the Arboretum, which goes to show how big the wealth of its owners was. Historical series and documentaries aficionados will immediately recognize some of the well-known locations. There is just so much beauty to discover and witness. The Arboretum was devastated by a forest fire in year 2000, when 120,000 square meters of Arboretum's vegetation got destroyed. Forest fires are a major threat to the entire Croatian coast. For example, on the island of Lokrum, it is completely forbidden to smoke. We were personally convinced of the sensitivity and fragility of these beautiful parks and forests, and we decided to find out what was being done in Croatia to maximize protection from forest fires. We visited the Transmitters and Communications Company, which has developed, among other things, a modern system of early detection and notification of forest fires.
We have very good infrastructure on the top of high mountains in Croatia and on very good key locations for providing video signals, because our locations have very good takeoff around 360 degrees around on the area, and it is excellent position for set up some system for video surveillancing for early detecting of the fire.
The camera system and the special software continuously monitor all compromised areas, and automatically inform firefighters and other services when suspicious smoke is detected. The entire system's brain is a complex software that can detect fire at the earliest stages and react to it promptly. The system enables real-time monitoring and easier coordination and guidance of firefighters and firefighting aircrafts. In addition to this system, it is also necessary to ensure top-level communication in real time.
Another one is a DMR radio system, digital mobile radio. A commercial name is Connect, which we use for connecting voice communication between two or more participants in the network. We provide enough coverage over Croatian territory for very secure communications between people, especially on the seaside, but also it is usable on the continental side.
Right. Another service provided by this company is video surveillance cameras for pilots of small aircrafts, thus enabling the image and weather conditions of the flight and landing zone to be shown in real time. The Dubrovnik Republic was one of the most developed states in the Middle Ages. In the 15th and 16th centuries, Dubrovnik was at the peak of economic power as a rich naval and commercial center, with its ships sailing to all the world's seas. These affluent naval businessmen, whose wealth would be measured in billions in today's money, would build their grand estates with parks and gardens on almost every island in Dubrovnik area. The island of Šipan is full of remains of these former palaces, most of which are very neglected and in poor condition. In this small space, there are as many as 42 old mansions and 34 churches. We can only imagine how they looked at the time of their full splendor. The coastal area of the Dubrovnik region, comprising the islands of Korčula, Mljet, Lastovo and the Elafiti archipelago, as well as the Pelješac Peninsula, makes the ACI Marina Dubrovnik an ideal starting point for a great seaside adventure. We have safely anchored our boat at the ACI Marina Dubrovnik, and we have here with us the most competent person to tell us all about its available facilities.
First of all, thank you for coming in ACI Marina Dubrovnik.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, ACI Marina Dubrovnik has 380 berths for the ships inside of the water, and 100 big ships we can put outside on dry dock.
Right.
We have also a big heavy lift, 130 tons. And 60 tons.
The marina has all the most important features much needed for yachtsmen and guests, but there's also a lot more to enjoy. From sports courts, swimming pools and shops to first-rate service facilities. I can see that we're at a very long bay here, which is perfect for docking your boat.
Yeah, we are inside of the river Ombla. Everywhere
Ombla River.
here is, how can I say, safety.
Okay,
And the water is calm. We have mixed water, of course, including salt water and water from the river, which is excellent for the ships inside of the water.
Brackish water is much better for vessels as it doesn't corrode as much as the seawater does, reducing maintenance and repair costs. Is it possible for really big ships to come in?
Yeah, about 60 meters long.
Up to 60 meters long?
Yeah.
Right, well that's
And
quite long.
usually we have ships between 15 and 21, 28 meter, but the ships bigger usually coming at summertime.
Electric car owners will be pleased to know that the marina has 2 Tesla-only electric charging stations and 1 Tesla universal charging station. For 15 years in a row, ACI Marina Dubrovnik has been awarded the Blue Flag for its perfectly clean sea and has been declared the best marina in the Adriatic in the 250 to 450 berth category, in the Flower of Tourism Quality for Croatia competition for 3 consecutive years. We had a wonderful welcome with traditional wines, products and souvenirs of Dubrovnik region. Traditional Dalmatian a cappella singing of klapa will warm every heart, especially with a few sips of good quality local wine. Linjo is traditional dance from Dubrovnik region, and we were honored with some great presentation. It is danced to the accompaniment of ljerica, an old southern Dalmatian instrument with 3 strings, which came from the eastern Mediterranean in the late 18th century and spread on the Adriatic coast in the 19th century. The dance master plays sitting down with ljerica on his left knee, thus dictating rhythm to the dancers. They move in a circle around the dance master, who gives commands in rhyme, humorous and often with double meaning. He also decides who will dance with whom and dictates the change of dance figures, along with encouraging the dancers to compete in improvisations. The second most important place in the Dubrovnik Republic was the small town of Ston. It is located at a strategically important spot where Pelješac Peninsula is connected to the land. In Roman times, Ston was called Turis Stagni. The historic center of the early medieval Ston was located on the southern slopes of the hill, on top of which there was a settlement since prehistoric times. In 1333, it became a part of the Dubrovnik Republic, and residents of Dubrovnik built and fortified the town to defend Pelješac and to protect the sultans, out of which they made high profits.
Stonewall was built by Dubrovnik Republic in 14th century to defend the salt factory, because salt was in medieval time expensive like gold, very expensive and important. They built in the first time the big wall to connect Ston and Mali-Ston. Later, in 15th century, they built this shorter part which goes on the top of the hill, but that part is still reconstructed.
When the construction of the fortification with 5.5 kilometers long walls was finished in 1333, it was the longest fortification complex in Europe and the second largest in the world, after the famous Chinese Wall. The Ston salt pans are the oldest in Europe and the largest preserved ones in the history of the Mediterranean. The salt works are still in function today, only we've missed the timing because the salt is harvested in late summer, so the pools are now empty and ready to take in new clean seawater. In any case, we can enjoy some homemade brandy and purchase last year's salt. Ston is a rich treasury of cultural and historical monuments, many of which are zero and first category. People are especially attracted by gastronomic specialties of the region, primarily oysters, mussels and other seafood, which makes the Bay of Mali-Ston particularly famous. In other words, you should definitely visit Ston and enjoy it in every sense. The Dalmatian coast has a very long history of mariculture. Traces of primitive oyster farming in Bay of Mali-Ston date back to Roman reign of this area. First written documents on shellfish fishing date back to the 16th century, with records from the 17th century providing details on the collection and sale of oysters from the time of the Dubrovnik Republic. They are organized for breeding by granting concessions and privileges enjoyed by breeders.
This oyster type which we produce here in the Mali-Ston Bay is very special because this type of oyster is growing only in this bay. On the whole world, they take altogether 3 years to grow to the full size.
3 years?
Yes, and the cycle of production starts every year in May and June, when the big oysters release eggs to the water. So one big oyster can release approximately 500,000 to 1 million microscopically small egg oysters, which then just float around the bay. And at that time of the year, we put these plastic nets, which are called collectors, in the sea. So what we do is that we put the collectors in the sea and we tie a rock to the bottom of the collector and a floater to the top. So we basically stretch them in the water. And so as the water is passing through the collector, the little egg oysters, they get stuck. And after a few months, you have the small oysters, which are about the size of your nail, growing on the collector. And this is the second phase of production. So basically what we do here is that we remove the 1 year oysters from the collector, and then we cement them a plastic rope, like this one. So we put oyster, rope, piece of cement, the second oyster.
I see. In this 3-year growth period, almost 40% of shellfish doesn't reach full maturity. So the expected yield is about 60%. This difficult and uncertain production is one of the reasons why oysters are so valued and considered a prime quality delicacy. It all looks so simple and easy when an expert does it. But after a bit of practice and with an aid of some great wine from Pelješac, things just seem to be working out on their own. In the small picturesque fishing village of Kobash, there are several family restaurants right by the sea, where guests can freely moor their boats and enjoy some truly delicious cuisine. What are you going to prepare for us today?
We will start with one antipasto misto. That's our what you see here on my display. So that means small cold bites from sea and land. That will be first course. After I have some beautiful capisante or pellegrini, how we call in Croatia, or scallops, which is nice and fresh, just open. I will just marinate them and I will grill them under salamander. In the same time, I will make one sauce from our local fenkel and onion and a little bit of the bell pepper from the garden. So there's going to be some special combination. Immersion of olive oil and lemon will be sauce. So when it's scamshell ready, we will put it upside down in the sauce.
Right.
After, I will make one risotto. It's a beautiful risotto. Actually, Parmesan risotto. Normally, everybody say fish and Parmesan not going well, but this is my authorized dish.
The food looks and smells divine. I don't know where to start. So what should I start with first?
You just take a little bit of the shark.
That's what I did start with,
Right,
yes.
and then you can have a little bit scampi. That's beautiful together. A little bit mussel, octopus, then vegetable, and leave for last prosciutto. Or you can mix of everything is beautiful, going together very well.
After tasting, I'm beginning to understand what the chef was talking about. These flavors are simply out of this world. Such rich taste from fresh, healthy ingredients simply can't result in anything less than perfection. I hope you enjoyed Dubrovnik and the surrounding islands. Join us again in our next episode of Sail Ho Croatia.